You should see the link at the top left if you want to watch along the live chat, or and if not, that's cool. But
Oh yeah, I do see
for
that.
future
Okay,
reference,
cool. Very cool.
are you right? Do this. Boom. You should see the link at the top left if you want to watch along the live chat. That sounds like me.
It does sound like you. Wait, I should turn the volume up here because that's going crazy. Okay, there we go.
Perfect.
All right, I'm probably just gonna pay attention to you here. I'm not young enough. I'm like just old enough that it's too much to have two screens.
That's cool.
But
Yeah.
the 3-year-olds can do multiple screens, but
A lot of people prefer to just pay attention to the not to watch the chat and just kind of vibe and then maybe watch after.
I feel that way. I'm like so about one thing at a time. It's like I've even gotten so sensitive I won't even check like texts. Like I'm just whatever I'm doing, I try to just do that one thing.
Right. And honestly, that's something I'm learning. This is just something I'm learning that uh I can embrace less multitasking and more focus. That's one of the mental blocks I have. I'm not really
Like yeah, I posted that on my Instagram. Like not to put one's on Instagram, but I'll probably do it multiple times. But I posted that on my Instagram. Like multitasking works if your job is having a panic attack while achieving nothing. Because it's true. It's like those days when you're like, and you're literally doing nothing.
right. Or even if you are doing what you're doing, it's like you don't really do it as strongly as you can do.
Absolutely. Diminished capacity. They say even having your phone on lowers your IQ, like versus just turning it off.
It's just like it's fascinating really how and that's what I respect with the fixed signs because y'all really just hyper focus and
For better or worse, I've learned to direct it in good directions because it can mess you up if you aren't aware of where that direct focus is going.
right. Well, it's funny, reflecting on that as a Gemini, because me and Focus, we don't know each other as well as I would like to, but I'm stepping into my Taurus cap. We changing that for sure. But welcome, one and all, those of you watching live to another fabulous, long overdue episode of Peace Talk with my very special guests. We have one of them here right now, and we'll introduce the other shortly. But yeah, we have Lucia in the building. How you doing?
I'm good. It's a tiny little apartment. I've got two of us here, so it's been a little intense over quarantine, but
It looks cozy and intimate.
thank you. It's funny. I was never a. I know you've referred to yourself as like kind of relating with the hermit. I've always been like just shoot me out the womb and like make me run. Like I've never liked spending much time at home and being forced to like actually create everything that I want, all the feelings I want to feel. I have to create them in my bubble by myself. I've like actually really embraced that, and it's been a cool new thing to like get really into.
That's awesome.
Yeah,
Um, and you're based in the West Coast, right?
I am. Yeah, I'm like I have to like it really was like a restart, new life coming to California because I was raised in the East Coast and like the culture shock was real, but like it was like I got here and I was like, oh okay, like I'm not too much, I'm not like too happy or too loud or like too like bubbly. Like I just was in the wrong city.
Right. Okay. So East Coast like New York or East Coast like Boston?
I was raised in New Jersey and then I lived in New York after that. But my family all was like, they like met, my parents met in Brooklyn, like had my brother so he could be cool, and then moved out to New Jersey. And then, yeah, so then I moved to LA 6 years ago.
Team Jersey. You know what's crazy? Yeah, my two of my younger sisters were born in both Harlem and Jamaica, Queens, and then grew up my whole life in Jersey.
You grew
Um,
up in New Jersey. Oh, your sister's dead.
I did. Yeah, my I did. My sisters did. Like I moved to Texas 2010. But what's crazy about that to me was I think around 6 years ago, give or take, um, when we were all living with my mother, it was my Scorpio sister who was the first person to leave, and because she wanted to be an actor, and she's still pursuing, like she's definitely had a lot of experience doing that in Cali, but my mom wanted her to get like a law degree or a medical degree. She didn't really want her to go to that, and she rebelled and did that anyway, and ended up being the first person to kind of just like drop everything and go to Cali and pursue her dreams.
Oh my gosh, I feel like me and her need to meet. I think the mom looming energy is something to be like. I'm transparent with everything, but that's a huge thing in my life. I don't know, like it feels very it's just intense. Like mom expectation on a daughter is huge and
Mm.
working, you know.
Yeah. It's cool though because the conflict started off with her not wanting to, go to college for that, and then she went to Cali, ended up pursuing acting, but then going back to school, but getting a degree in like film or something like that. So it was a nice compromise, but it really taught me of the determination y'all have to like make your passions come true and be real.
Yeah. It's kind of like a blessing and a curse. I do feel mostly it's a blessing. Like I when I was a child, like I knew I wanted to be an actress. It's really like transformed into comedy and also using my acting abilities, which we'll talk about, like actually using those same abilities in a different way. Um,
Right.
but like I feel like knowing what I wanted to do in the world, like not having the name, but always knowing. In fact, this is a weird thing, and I wonder if you have any insights. So the first time I ever heard the word actor, like I didn't know what it was. I just did always was doing shows. Like Leo is in like my like home on my chart, so it's like me and my friend Sarah. We always talk about how like the home is like our stage always. So I didn't even know what being an actor was, but then I remember overhearing a teacher telling my mom about an acting class, and I saw vividly. I'm not like a clairvoyant, like I don't see things, but I saw vividly like a queen, like the queen card. And I was a little kid the first time I heard the word actor.
Interesting.
Isn't that interesting?
That is very interesting. That's more than interesting. That's very revealing. Thank you for sharing
Yeah, I've never like found the moment to actually share that story. Like I've literally never told that story.
And shout out to the Munual in the live chat. I didn't even know there was an asteroid actor um, in the chart. So for those who are curious, what is your sun, moon, and rising?
So my sun is Scorpio, my moon is Taurus, which is like why I've got to have all my things. And my rising is Gemini, which we'll explore later.
That's awesome. There's a very like sensual grace to Taurus moons that I really appreciate. Like I've never met a Taurus moon that isn't solid and doesn't know, like all you Taurus moons know you're solid inside. You're like, yeah, we're the shit. Like we're just so beautiful and graceful. And y'all own it, and I love it. It's so dope.
Yeah, I think that's partly why I'm like the always single person. Like I've been single forever, but it's sort of like it's so good here. Like who am I going to invite in that's going to make it better? And that's a rare find, you know.
Okay, God bless you because you confirmed something for me that I saw Astrolata talk about years ago. And she was talking, it was the most gangster shit I've ever seen. She was talking about irresistible attraction with the moon signs. And she listed all the moon signs and it applied to like sun and rising. And it's like, this moon is irresistibly attracted to this moon. I think moon in Aries and Aqua is irresistibly attracted to Cap. And then moon in Cap is irresistibly attracted to like Libra and moon in Pisces. And the only moon in Taurus was the only moon sign that's not attracted to anyone. It's like I don't feel y'all. Like I'm good.
Like, what's wrong with me? I'm like, do I have a pulse? Like, because I'm a very sexual person. Like, it's not like I'm like turned off, but like for me to like want to make out with someone, it's a rare thing. And I'm like, I'm watching The Bachelorette constantly, because like what else? Like, yeah, I've fallen down the hole, and they're like just kiss everybody. Everybody's kissing each other all the time,
Oh
and I feel like
wow.
after dates, everyone will be like, "Did you guys make out?" And I'm like, "No." Like, it would be a huge deal for me to want to kiss somebody.
Right.
So it's
That's
like it's weird. It's like I'm not prude and I'm not asexual. I'm just not really turned on by that many people.
and I
And
love that. Like that's so awesome. It gives greater credence to the moon being exalted there, and y'all have this like very regal presence. So I do appreciate it, and y'all just don't fuck with anybody, and I love that. But it's not like you're mean though. It's not like you're mean. Like y'all are still very good. But
I mean,
other
you
than
said it once. You were like Tauruses and Capricorns, like they act. I think correct me. I might be misquoting you, but you said something along the lines of like, you guys act like you're so antisocial. You just don't like people.
right, right. I swear to God, like people think y'all are stuck up. People think you're antisocial. And it's like, no, it's just if they go out, y'all are gonna be there. And they don't want to be where y'all are gonna be. And then y'all think they're stuck up, but they just don't like. I feel, yeah. I don't want to say what I was gonna say, but
It's kind
yeah,
of funny. It's like there's kind of a reason. Like I'm a coach. It's kind of a reason like I get paid to like talk to people. Do you know what I mean? Like I do love people, but it is a lot of energy, and like
well,
I
yeah.
can't really give it. Would Do you experience that like after doing like a day of readings? Like, do you feel drained?
Well, yeah, I do actually, and I'm learning how to like integrate that. But I think it's what like and this is where I feel like Scorpio is very underappreciated with this because you probably also have Pluto in Scorpio. So the process of interaction for you for just y'all alone is so much more intensely extreme.
Yeah.
It makes sense why many Scorpios don't even like to be around too many people or want to be because it's like you're seeing into the impurities and illusions, and then you have to act like it's normal because if you say anything, people will be like, "Oh, you're being too extreme,"
Um,
and like it's crazy the
yeah.
psychology behind that.
A friend of mine, she talks very openly about having borderline personality, and one of the symptoms of it is like noticing micro expressions. Like they notice them more. And I was joking this the other day that it's like maybe borderline is just like noticing shit. Like because I feel that way too. Like if I talk to someone, I'm gonna feel into like how they're feeling. Like I think like if I have like like the way that I sort of sense extra is like feeling in my body. So I'm gonna feel a thing like depending on how someone feels. I'm definitely gonna notice like what their truth is, right? And yeah, it is exhausting, like to like navigate all these people who are just like wild with all their different feelings. And I really enjoy it, but it's like a job. And I even feel like I remember when I lived in New York, I was like, God, it would be so nice to go through a day where I wasn't just like flirting with 15, like I was younger. So I have better boundaries now. But when I was like in my young 20s, I was like, okay, I go to the deli, I have to flirt with the deli guy, and then I have to flirt with the doorman, then I have to flirt with the taxi, then I have to flirt with like literally like my whole day was like flirting.
What
But
do you have in Libra?
I don't know. Sarah can tell us. The Moonual like knows my chart.
Word.
Like my bestie and also astrologer.
I heard Libra when you said that, like, oh, I gotta flirt with all these people, because I feel like for Libra it's a job, like they have to flirt with you because they have to maintain.
Yeah. I
It's
literally was like, wait a minute, like these people will be okay if I don't make them feel amazing. But I think when you like not to brag, but when you have the ability to make people feel amazing, it almost feels like you're doing them a disservice by not making them feel amazing.
South Node Libra. There we go. The North Node in Aries is like, okay, my challenge this lifetime is no, fuck that. I'm gonna do what I want. I'm not gonna try to make you feel. You're gonna make me feel good.
You know
And
what? I was thinking about so I was sort of narrowing down like what is like my intention this like right now, like what's my intention in the world, and it was like to spread joy. And then I was writing this morning and I was like, that's kind of fucked up. Like first of all, it's an egotistical thing to think I just give it. So I was like to give and receive joy. But
mm,
that came to me this morning because I really like I always think about like what do I need to give? What do I need to give?
yeah, that's deep. That's deep. That's awesome. Balance, give and receive, and um I mean, it's just amazing too to process all the this deeper wisdom now that we're coming into greater maturity. You said when you were in your younger 20s, were you born like mid late 80s?
Well, Talia Brava would say 16, but I was born in the late 80s. I'll say 1986.
Actually, I really appreciate would you say Talia is a walk-in?
I don't know, but I will say that like when people ask me like when are you going to be done with this or like oh you're still doing that, I'm like she's like on you, she's a person, like that's how it feels, like it really does feel that way. And she has liberated so many aspects of myself that I probably won't even be able to process for like 10 years from now. So I don't know, I have no like theory as
No,
to.
this is fascinating because like I've seen I've kind of had run-ins with certain individuals who claim they've had walk-ins and like they're no longer who they used to be and they have a new birthday and stuff like that. Versus you who embraces who you really are versus the other aspect of yourself. And what I really love about this, I really want to talk to you more, Lucia, because this definitely, I feel like it's very genius how you're helping people navigate what they think is an illness. Like everything about what you're doing, I feel is such an advanced method of even being an individual. And it's crazy how people can look at it as like it's just something you're doing or like, oh, when is you gonna give it up? And it's like, if we're going to speak truthfully, if people really are multidimensional, it's almost as if you're stepping into the evolution of how you view yourself. Like it's very fascinating. I have no doubt in my mind that Talia isn't even just someone you created. It's really maybe a deeper aspect there. So maybe Talia is realer than you, Lucia.
It's so that's there's so much truth in that like if I'm feeling a feeling, like Lucia processes it as like how do I stay in a likable zone where, and Talia is just there with the feeling. So like she says that she'll be like what's more real, like this personality that Lucia crafted to like make people like her and feel good versus like me where I'm just being real. And like it's so, I mean everyone should have the ability to like be able to yell at people and like all this shit that I can do that, like I used to when I was a little kid. I was like, I wasn't overly emotional, but I had a kind of histrionic, like hypersensitive mother who like could not handle other people having emotions. And I used to like in the middle of like fights, I would go to like the edge of our lawn and scream like out to the neighbor's lawn. And she would come find me outside screaming out and be like, you're not allowed to scream. And it was like, I mean, I think a lot of like we talk about that before in one of our talks about like how our powers get dampened. And for me, it was like my expression was always being told like I was told that my mom actually called me a witch when I was crying. She was like, because she's like, she always thought that I was crying to like hurt her. But I'm like, I'm feeling things. And like, as a child, you really don't know why you're crying. You're just crying because you're a kid and you're upset.
Well, that's even deeper because when the moon is in your 12th house, your emotional response to things is unconscious. So you don't really always know why you'll and the reason for that is because you're super psychic. So you're not even just feeling your feelings. And so this is something else that I really thank you because I feel like you've perfectly helped me understand what it's like to have a magic personality in the sense where Gemini rising, Virgo rising, Sag rising, Pisces rising, scientifically speaking, you having multiple, I don't call it multiple personalities, but you kind of having different facets of your personality seems like the true definition of a Gemini rising, where you have that duality in your personality split between your Taurus moon and your Scorpio sun. Or that was really my question for you. Would you find that you and Talia are kind of different aspects of your sun and moon?
Ooh, that's interesting. I really identified like the Scorpio in Talia as very strong.
Hmm.
Yeah, I never thought of it that way, but that makes sense because also Lucia is like it's weird to talk about myself in third person, but like me, Lucia, like I am a very safe person. Like I'm somebody that people feel comfortable around and
Right.
welcome around to share. And I think that's why having Talia and Lucia as a coach, it's like this awesome combo because Talia can be like, I see your shit, we're pushing you further into the fire. And like,
Right.
like, and then Lucia can be like also here with no judgment, like whatever comes up, like it's gonna be safe.
Yeah. It's like you're both, but like Luch, it's like you and Talia are both the Taurus and Scorpio, but Lucia is more Taurus, and then the Talia is stronger. But like, yeah, it's very. You kind of helped me understand how it's more less of something that like is a gimmick and more of something that's like truly authentic. Because it's just I could it's very unfortunate how many people come to develop this, but it's just very stunted
Yeah.
because we're taught that, oh, you're just supposed to meant to be one person, and there's nothing scientifically to support that
It's
at all.
really is a kind of insanity, like and particularly because there's no fluidity allowed even in that one individual. Like that one
Right.
individual can't wear a dress or like wear a suit or like cry one day and then be happy the next. Like you're supposed to be a caricature of yourself in order to be
Right. No, that's so true. And I can understand in the case of like body mutilation, but even just wearing a dress or even just like doing something that's different than the norm and the standard. It's just breaking free of these shackles of this has to be this way, this has to be that way. Um and that's why I appreciate advanced characters and spirits like yourself that kind of push and transform what we can define, as what is, or in this case, identity. And even though we are just one vessel, doesn't mean that we're not multidimensional, right?
Yeah.
And tapping into different levels.
And it's
Uh,
like to buy the lie that we are like this personality that we crafted to survive in a very specific system with a very specific group of people. We develop personality traits and characteristics to survive it. And then to buy the lie that that's who we are is like a real form of insanity. And it cuts people off from so many like one of the reasons that I love doing this alter ego workshops is I use it as a very specific tool with coaching clients where it's like they'll be like, I'm just bad at this thing. And it's like, okay, well, what if you had an alter who was good at it? And then all of a sudden they're doing the thing.
right, right. That's yeah. It's like, and you mean in the sense where like they think they can't do it and then they do what they thought they can't do.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
even the simple prompt of like, okay, but like pretend you could,
Right, right,
pretend you could imagine. And then they do.
right. Yeah, and these are, oh, that's just so beautiful. And it's the ways that we block ourselves.
Yeah.
And I mean, oh, I don't want to forget what I was about to say before about maybe how things may be blended or suppressed. But outside of that, I mean, it's just really exciting now to push forward in a time where people can kind of expand that sense of themselves and embrace it. Um, that's what I was gonna say. Oh, thank God, thank God, thank God, thank God. I was gonna say, it's crazy because we have we have education, we have entertainment, we just have all sorts of liars who reinforce what we are supposed to learn to align it with the system. So everything that you said before is so on point. It's like the real only reason why we have to conform to this is because you have a social security, you have a name, and so you have to adhere to that so we can tax this person, so you don't just change it, right? So it's crazy. It is insanity because you're putting it under the guise of it being the truth when it's all a trap to fit into some system.
Oh my
And
God,
now
it's like
this is
we do
gonna
to each other. It's like we shackle each other. We're like, hey, you're my friend, and you said you'd be here at this time, and you'd act this way, and and we get so upset when people change.
right.
It's almost like other people's liberation that's so threatening. Like if someone is 1 inch more liberated than the other person, it's like, how dare you fucking feel comfortable saying you're gonna do this and then doing something else? Or that's what I love. Honestly, that's why I love Kanye West. He's like, yeah, like I applied late to be president. Like I'm like, he just does whatever. He doesn't. And I think I resonate with you as well. Like that's why I'm drawn to you and like your work is like you just really make I feel like a mission statement that I see, and let me know if this is not true, but is just like permission to be yourself, like just permission.
We don't
Giving,
take ourselves too serious too.
yeah, yeah.
Right.
And just
What?
like permission to transform. Like that's why I love Geminis.
Yeah, yeah. Whereas, yeah, no, I much appreciated too. Cause they trying to end us out here. They're trying to silence us out here.
Yeah. Oh, you
For real.
20 years ago. Like fuck off. I
Oh my
can't
God.
even. I honestly can't. I said that like right after things got really intense with like the Black Lives Matters protests and like everyone was just sort of like spinning. I posted because a lot of my comedian friends just stopped doing anything. They were like, I can't do anything. I can't be funny in 2020. And I posted, I am prepared to be canceled with the concept of comedy. And I sincerely meant it. I'm like, if comedy doesn't exist in the world, then great.
Then great.
I'll go make a baby on a field. Like I don't like, I'll retire from my life.
Yeah. No, that's and I deeply respect that because I started to realize like I started to ask myself like, oh, should I continue to do my run on with skits or to see that? And then I realized like if it's that controversial to be comedic, this is the perfect time to do comedy. Like this is the perfect time to do right.
100%. And it's also such great, like if you could meditate to like dismantle your ego, or you could be criticized. Like being fucking criticized is the best way to get used to being like, come at me. Like come and try to destroy me. If you destroy me, I won. My ego is dismantled. Thank you.
It's gone. So I've embraced that so much to the point where I'm more comfortable with criticism than I am with love. Like the criticism, like get at me, I don't care. But the love is like,
You're like thanks for the fire. Yeah.
it's like, too
Yeah.
vulnerable.
Oh, now I have to like be nice back and I have to say a thing. And yes, I get it. Then you're in relationship versus just like, thank you for the energy. Bye.
Right. So I mean, that's what's up. Um, what do you feel inspired you to step on this path and incorporate Talia into your world?
Ooh, there's so many different, there's almost like a million different ways I could answer that question.
Right.
I think the initial the seed of this like Talia Brava exploration was initially just watching the Tony Robbins documentary and finding it so interesting that he's like a magician and he's like, you believe that I get people and can transform them in a second, and I believe that I get people and can transform in a second, so people are transforming in seconds. Like, and I was like, wow, this is literally a magic trick that he's playing. And like that was really interesting and funny to me. And I thought like, okay, well, I'm going to do a stage show that's like a joke. Like it's this character who's super arrogant, who's like, I watched a documentary on Tony Robbins and now I'm going to change your life. And I was like, in my head, it was a comedy show and the world just saw it as that. But in my head, I was like, I wonder if this will work. I wonder if believing that I have this ability will mean that like I can do these things. And so
Right.
it's been this really fun experiment. Like simple things like getting really fucking fit. I was like, be Brava. Like I just like planted that in my head. And like when I had my big stage show in Vegas, I was like, this is her pop star moment. Treat it like you are preparing for MTV's like, movie awards and you're Gaga. Like, so I just sort of, it's this mind hack that I was, as Lucia started to play with of like, if you believe it, what's possible? And then it just unfolded to the point where I started to actually be like, wow, I'm actually speaking real shit that I believe as Talia. And so using that satire and using that as a permission to like get on and preach when I, as Lucia, like wouldn't feel comfortable like naming myself a spiritual authority and like coming on a live stream and preaching. But Talia Brava does, and she's channeling God, so I can say all the things like I really need to say.
That's awesome. And I feel like that perfectly describes the mechanism of transformation and what it means to even represent Scorpio or just like regardless of sign. That's very, very, very fascinating. And well, I guess here is the moment of truth. Uh may we summon Talia.
1,000%. We'll just do a little invocation. I've got my little shrine ready. See, my shrine comes out of a box, so
Okay.
she's ready. She needs all her props. Okay, so we'll do a little invocation. Anyone can get one of these over my website, a votive candle. We'll just do 3 I love you, Talia Bravas. Okay, I'll close my eyes, and when I open them, I'll be here. So we'll do 3 I love you, Talia Bravas. So inhaling into your first chakra. Exhale. I love you,
I love you, Talia Brava.
Brava. 2 more, giving me all your energy. I love you.
I love you, Talia Brava.
Thank you. I feel you. 1 more. I love you.
I love you, Talia
Brava.
Brava.
Mahalo, my perfect Brava baby. What a delight to be on a live video.
Hello.
Are we lit? Are we bored? Are we bored?
We are.
Are we so bored with Lucia? My darling, what question have you been aching to ask me this whole fucking time that you rescheduled like 4 fucking times? Oh, hello. Maybe he's having an appointment with God. I think he forgot. Can we call Gandhi and get him on the speed dial? Bitch, what's up? Why?
I knew you were gonna call me out.
What question have you been aching? I want to hear the question that's come to you in the middle of the night when you're covered in sweat. What question?
How do I transform? Please, Talia, how do I transform?
Okay, I'm playing this new game because like no one likes a rambler. So I actually time myself. Okay, so I'm gonna tell you how to transform in 30 seconds. Okay, cutie?
Oh, shit.
All right, here we go.
Let's go.
Watch the time. Keep me honest. All right, my darling. Michael, you have already transformed. You are in the process of continuously transforming. And if you just breathe in right now, inhale, exhale, say fuck it.
Fuck it.
Do you feel your newness? Do you feel your newness?
I have to feel it. Okay.
So here's the thing, my cutie. Okay, we're at 20 seconds. Here's the thing, my cutie. I feel that you are wanting this to be like, you're putting scales to it. It's the micro is the macro, right? You're putting this like this big change where you're gonna like walk out, you have a different car, you have a different shirt on, like you look totally different, right? It's the micro shift and the micro is the macro. So in what way are you micro transforming as we speak?
You nailed it. That's it. Damn. So okay. So it's a process. I want to grow into it. I want to transform into it. Sustain it.
That's my darling, because that's where we do operate like, you know, on this level as well. And on this level, time is working slower, but it also is a perception. So you can perceive time. If you really dig into the moment, you're going to be noticing those shifts more and more because you're going to feel the micro. So right now, I want you to feel into your own micro shift from the beginning of this conversation to now. Has anything shifted?
Subtly. And I feel like my mind more shifted. It's almost as if like I want to feel who I transform into and take actions as that person.
Yeah, you want to see that material action, like you want to see that change in behavior.
Right. And that's been my biggest challenge because shout out to Jeremy. Like I already do this all the time, but that's my biggest challenge. Like I guess the Gemini will change and then I'll notice a butterfly and get distracted. So I just got to really stay focused. That's been my biggest issue.
That, my darling, it's like remembering who the fuck we were turning into because all the tracks are there. We could be the version of, I mean, I like literally have crawled under a table and like at a dinner party with my mother when I was like in my 20s, and that's a 4-year-old, right? So it's like all the tracks are there, and choosing your own adventure, as like you talk so perfectly about this game of life, like what avatar is like most thrilling, exciting, like going to bring you to that next level, and choosing to behave as him rather than the others.
Right.
So what's an action that you've been like sitting on, or like an action where you're like, wow, if I did that, I would really be proving to myself that I am that guy? Is there an action that's coming to mind?
Yeah, I'm just a lazy asshole because I kind of wanted it. I could attain it to I could uh ascribe it to maybe my workouts, but I want to like super magical transformation so that then I can do the workout. But it's the workout that's gonna transform my body and bring that out. But
Darling. And this is just basic, like this is like basic bitch shit. Like I teach spin, so I'll tell you this. But like they've done studies on this that like if you are, and you're exactly what you're speaking of, if you are thinking about your fitness goal as like in 3 months, maybe I'll look like that, it's not gonna motivate you. But if you think in 5 minutes, I might have a little bit more endorphin rush, in an hour, I might feel more at peace. That will get you to work out much better than a long-term goal. So just like little Jillian Michaels moment.
no, that's so important because energy has been my biggest block. Like waking up early, giving a fuck.
Have you guys tried energy drinks?
No.
Oh my gosh, boo. I like, side note, like kind of have a sponsorship, like no big deal, but like the gym I work at gets free one. So adrenaline shock.
Oh snap!
At me holistic wellness coaches. This bitch like literally aimed to drink adrenaline shock.
All right. I mean, thank you so much, Queen Talia. Can I call you Queen Talia or Talia Brava?
Of course, my darling. You can call me anything you want if you put queen in front of it.
Okay, that's what's up. That's what's up. So yeah, now that we have you right here, I mean, you just debuted right off the bat, giving me the secret to my pressing question and answer. So Talia, um, Queen Talia, what how would you describe your manifestation into this world?
Okay. So I would describe my manifestation as really very inspired by Ariana Grande High Pony, first off. Very inspired in the beginning by like obviously like the thought piece of the next generation. Like I want those likes. Like I'm a slut for them, right? So like that's been a lot of the catalyst.
Mm.
And then it's actually become much more and more looking into my beautiful Brava babies, looking into their souls, feeling their souls, letting their souls feel held as I challenge them to be like, bitch, I love you. And so we're going places, right? So I think it started off more of a narcissistic, like me, like I describe myself as a sociopathic narcissist, but only because those are the ones who have in the past succeeded in the FUBU reality for us by a sociopathic narcissist, right, Cutie? So I developed that winnings personality and I taught others to do the same. And now in recent time, I started to channel Nada, dismantle her hyper ego Brava. So now I'm Talia Nada Brava. And I'm actually able to speak the truth. And my boo, like, except when I'm like just being funny or whatever, like I speak it
Mm.
clearly. Even though like when I try to do the dictation things, it's like never understands what I'm saying.
Wow. I just kind of want to say I you're an inspiration to me because I've slowly but surely been coming out the closet as a sociopathic narcissist myself. I didn't want to just go out all right and be one. I'm just gradually, slowly but surely allowing myself to become more of a sociopath every day. But I'm not even really being sarcastic. Like I'm just finding ways to, you know.
It's so interesting. Let's look at narcissism, right? Because like our storyline is fascinating, and it's the only one that we're really privy to, right? We have
Right.
one storyline that we get to binge. It's our own, and anything else is speculation. And it's honestly like idiotic. Like I have no idea what the fuck's happening inside your psyche. Like I can surmise, I can tap into my sample study of one and be like, I feel like this is what's happening. But we really have a sample study of fucking one, and so to be like not about it, like that's boring.
It's even more fascinating when I realize that in astrology, Leo is narcissism. And so everyone has narcissism.
Yeah,
It's just
it's the show,
it's the
right?
show. Beautiful, right, right. There's a difference between narcissism and narcissistic personality disorder. They're not the same. They're not the same. And yeah,
And I
it's
think
amazing to see you embrace it.
well, this is the thing. This is what I love. Is like I love just for people to own their shit. So that I love this about you that you just own that. Because really the worst of us are those who just aren't owning it. Like I know a true like kind of the qualities of like the narcissistic my mom. So I the qualities, right? The qualities of a narcissistic personality. A a few check marks on the WebMD. She scrolls the WebMD every now and then. So,
Right.
but the thing is, this individual has to identify as giving, right? So it's like what we're trying to hide, like overcompensating for. That's really the drag. Like that's when you really can't be around a person because they're like continually trying to prove this ego identity that you're like, but it doesn't really fit.
Like a square peg in a round hole. And amazing synchronicity I had with you. So around after the time we started, connecting and you guest featured me on your interviews, which is I'm still very, very honored. I saw this episode on My Hero Academia with this villain called Gentle Criminal. And he was sophisticated. He did like his debut was he basically robbed a bank, but he didn't take the money. He kept the money there and just left because it was deeper than that. He wasn't just robbing it, right? But it was like his sidekick or his partner. He never referred to her as a sidekick. His partner was this small lady called La Brava. And her quirk was that whoever she loved gained a strength boost.
My darling, also because I called you gentle, right? I was like, you're such a gentle man. And I was like taken aback because like you have like a different demeanor when you're doing like, a 2-minute video and you're like, here's the truth, like versus you in a conversation. So I had literally just called you gentle.
Oh my God. Because
That
that
is
was,
really intriguing.
yeah. No, thank you for saying that because that's very revealing. Because I'm not really too bouncy individual, but I can identify with certain aspects of the gentle criminal in that show
Hey,
too.
darling, I have a question for you. Can I ask you a question?
Please go ahead.
So I'm so curious because it's like I feel like as witches, like we're constantly getting together and being like the men are like need to evolve and like divine feminine. We just talk shit. There's never a fucking man in the room. So as a man, a spiritual man, which you're aware, you are a unicorn. Like a man who's on the
Thank you.
spiritual path. It's like a beautiful thing. What's your relationship with this whole conversation around divine masculine, divine feminine at this meow moment?
I love it. As someone who the Capricorn for me likes the seriousness of it. The Gemini part of me likes to instigate the conflict because it's so fun and it's so funny. So, I mean, as a unicorn, right? I grew up with just women, and so I'm used to connecting with the dudes, right? And I love that part of my charts, like the Mars and Aries are outside of astrology, like being able to connect with men in a raw primal way, where we're saying all the nasty shit we would never say when women are around.
I
But
mean,
then,
on your Twitter,
right. Oh my God.
mostly boys on Twitter. Girls like the gram because apparently, like this is good for our brain. Anyway, continue. Sorry, to interrupt.
And okay. I love this question though. I love this question though. This question is so good. So, I mean, I also did, hang out around a lot of women. And I remember growing up, I went through that arc of like feeling like I had to be the nice guy and her dealing with all these jerks that she was talking to. Well, first of all, I never felt like I had to be the nice guy. I really was just a nice guy. But I really came into learning about like the differences between what men and women expect. So it's amazing because I remember when I initially awakened, a part of that awakening in 2012 was just this huge like deification of woman that took over me where I'm like, oh my gosh, like even borrowing in like women's brains being connected through the hemispheres and then y'all DNA and genes being so much bigger than ours. Before that scientific knowledge, I was just like, women are just so much more psychically advanced than men. And I was under the impression that y'all just use us as like pawns on your playing field and it's woman versus woman. And men are just kind of like lower evolved species that are also smart too. Cause I didn't mean to say that men, cause I believe that men are very powerful. I've always believed that women are like super powerful and y'all hide your psychic powers maybe because of Salem witch hunt trials or whatever. And I started to really believe like, wow, like there is a supremely advanced nature that women may be waiting for men to come into. Then after like 2015, 2016, I awakened to my divine masculine and I realized, okay, like, you know, there is balance to this. I still believe y'all are very psychically advanced. And Maggie said we control more than y'all can imagine. And that's facts. That's facts. Like I've
That's why they say a witch is a woman who knows her power. That's why they
right.
definition, a perfect definition.
And I feel like my Capricorn moon helped me feel into that part of y'all where I normally be oblivious to it. And I'm not as, now that I'm becoming older, I can really appreciate y'all and your power. Cause like it now I can see why it's been suppressed. But to answer your question, I really come to understand, you know what I'm saying? Um, I've really come to understand the rhetoric and belief and notion of where women are coming from when they say that men need to advance and men need to update. What I also appreciate is at the same time this is happening, men are having the conversation of, you know, women need to be more honest, women need to be more supportive, and there's all sorts of arguments around here, but it made me realize that there's issues on both sides, you know what I mean, like more, and in both cases people more bringing in personal stuff. As far as spiritual awakening though, I've never heard men ever in my life be, oh, women need to become more woke or more spiritually awakened, like
Oh my God, a little bit. Like she's reading my mind a little too much. Yes, and what's so. I think that the missing piece for me on the female side is just a lot of love and respect for men. Like
yeah,
I
yeah.
love men, and I want men to step into their power and like really truly own it. And that means like what you're describing, when you stepped into your power, you were able to honor the divinity of women. Like that's
Right.
what it is. That diminishing the other does nothing. And I get really fired up about this because it's like in like the most woke communities, people just like, you know, make a lot of horrible assumptions about men on a deep core level.
On a deep core level. And so I hate to interrupt you, but there's a lot of well-meaning men who feel like they're ostracized because of that. And most of the conversations with men is more, I don't want to say 3D because it's not like baseless. Like it's real stuff they're dealing with. Low vibrational women who make high vibrational women look bad. And they're usually talking more about child support stories, people crying rape, people making stuff up, like vile stuff that women do. But then there's the other side where you have women also exposing the low vibrational men who make the high vibrational men look bad, who also take advantage of women, who don't, you know what I'm saying? And this is where I can see the narrative in both sides. Spiritually speaking, however, if I'm going to be honest, the reason why I have the success doing what I do is because of women, period. The reason why I've evolved doing what I do is because of women. Because when I was learning about this, when I was coming into this wisdom, there was a very important need for the masculine energy.
Yeah.
That was so very important in my path. But it was only women I could talk to about this without being made to feel weird. Like I'm not talking, there's a majority of dudes are not talking to me about this stuff. They want to talk about sports. They want to talk about fucking bitches. They want to talk about, you know, crazy stuff. It's usually, and thankfully there are men like me who are also on the spiritual path. So it's not just, you know, but like it was a huge determining factor in seeing that there's a reason why a lot of women are very naturally in tune with astrology and a lot of men aren't there yet. This, you know, is just, so but I feel like a lot of men since the past decade have leveled up and they're starting to kind of come to that, you know, place where, like you said, we're stepping into our power.
So when you look at your Gemini self, do you feel like you can sort of play like both levels with men? Like there are those who are like in your heart and you can be like, okay, we're really gonna talk. And then you can also play like the game of like we're just talking on the surface, but like it's fun.
And I love that, like that, and that's why I value relationships with men, because sometimes we can go on that 3D level and talk about stuff that's controversial, taboo. We can be on that raw Aries energy, but then there are people who, you know, there are other men like me who are like, you know, I want to be able to talk about this stuff with regardless of other men or women, just with other people.
And
So
I honestly feel like that low vibrational woman, low vibrational man that we talk about is not the whole of who it's just they aren't the whole of who they are. I mean, when you look at little
right,
boys, the sensitivity of a young boy,
yeah,
it's so present. And like I think that's partly why I have such a big heart for boys is because I had an older brother and I saw him in the most vulnerable states, you know, and now he's this guy who like people wouldn't, you know, people don't see those things in him. And but I know it's there. So I think anyone who's loved like had a brother or like a sensitive father, like we know that the humanity is all the spectrum is there. It's just what society has allowed them to have present.
beautiful. Very, very beautiful. That was such a good question. And you know, it's it's kind of interesting to see how this question is going to evolve, or this stage is going to. I feel like the dynamics of men and women coming into the next decade is going to transform uncomfortably, but like in the greatest ways, because now we've kind of stepped into our power on both sides, and you know, what are we going to do with it? But other than that, what do you feel about your life in the West Coast with all this that's going on?
Well, my darling, so I was able to do one trip back to see family in New York. And I think the biggest thing that has become clear to me is she's very much alone. Like, hello, you know what I mean? She's alone. So it's like it's fine when I'm busy and I have friends and stuff, but it's been challenging to just own the fact that like we might live in a future that like you can't just hop on a plane as easily. Who knows? But like it's been challenging and I'm so I guess on like that level that's how I'd answer that question. Is that what you're looking for or what are you thinking? What was the yeah, what was the
That was well said. That was well said. Yeah, I feel the same way. Like it's still Sean McDougal said next decade is WAP culture, baby. Um it's interesting. So we're gonna play the three questions game. And in this game, we are going to take turns asking each other questions.
I love it.
It could be about anything, and you'll start first. You'll
Okay, really quick, just because I love winning games. What does three have to do with it? Like, is it like every three questions something happens?
No, good question. Good question. So you're gonna ask me a question, I'll answer it. Then I'll ask you a question, you'll answer it, and then we'll go back and forth 2 more rounds.
Okay, I love it. I love like a Tabata style workout and a very structured questioning. Okay.
Okay. So before you start, for the first time, I'm gonna have a special guest kind of play and do this game. So I will be right back.
Oh my god, I'm so excited. I can't wait. Watch me fall in love with this guest. I hope you guys are massively entertained by this little pause break. Is everyone feeling good out there? I'm not reading the chat. I don't read. I'm sorry. I do not read. It's like not getting paid enough to read. By the second to read. Yeah, this is so exciting. I feel like it's like that moment when like you're in a boy's room and they leave you for a second. And you're like, how much should I inspect? Like, where's my blue light? Remember that show? That was a cute idea.
Welcome. I wanted to play.
I love the Benjamin Franklin kind of style. Like, what's happening?
Thank you.
Here?
I am I don't think we've met. I'm Sir Oreo. I'm Ralph Smart's half brother.
Okay,
And the peace dealer's confidant.
nice
And
to meet you. What's in that jacket?
just my glorious big body.
Oh,
That I'm way more built than the peace dealer.
he's owning it. Okay, Katie, are you ready for your first question?
Yes, I am.
So
I will answer on the peace dealer's behalf. So you can
I
ask.
love that. I love that. We'll talk about him too. We'll talk some shit. So, Cutie, knowing so much about so many people's charts, you have done, or Peace Dealer has done so many like in-depth explorations. Whom on the internet or of the people that you know is Talia Brava's forever soulmate?
That's a very, very, very interesting question. I really personally, when it comes to potential, I feel like you don't ever want to call these things too soon. So I would be willing to say we really don't know. It would be unbecoming to just make a guess. However, I would say you would have a very special connection with King Breezy. Chris Brown is a Taurus sun on your moon and Scorpio moon on your sun, and that could get very tantalizing.
My darling, but I like that because it's always in every song where it's like breezy. I'm like, yeah, that's me. Hi. So that's cute. He has a little bit of a checkered history with the ladies, but that's for another stream. Okay, I'm all yours.
All right, good question, by the way. If it, and to answer once again, anyone who would really have a Taurus mean or affiliation. But my question for you, my first question for you is, well, what would you consider your dream life? If you're living it right now, what are you doing?
We're
What do
on
you
a boat. Okay, we're on a boat, obviously. The water is flat. It's gorgeous. It's like a slight overcast. It's not like terribly, it's not like raining, but it's like slightly overcast. Lots of shade. I've got a man who's like just indulging in my feet. Like it's not like he's like, I have to massage your feet. Like, no, he's like, oh, I love massaging your feet, Talia. And I'm like, boo, you're Leonardo DiCaprio. Of course you do. And like we're eating what's called oysters. We're eating oysters. All my family is there. It's not like the only well, not all my family. Some of my family's there. My brother's there, his wife's there, like we got family and friends around us. I'm into like in a nice robe. And this is my boat and I got everyone here. And like I got them here by doing this like crazy personal work where I like resurrect souls on an island, like as my job. So I'm a
Wow,
soul. I basically people come to me broken and then they leave like new. And I lead these enormous massive gatherings and like yeah, I'm a cult leader as we know. But like right now, the best moment is like we're on the boat and everyone's there and we're having an amazing time and everyone's
amazing.
like deeply relaxed. We don't even know where the fuck we are. We're just on a boat.
Everybody knows the coolest people ever are court leaders.
Okay,
That's what's up.
darling. For
That's
you, what was the for the peace dealer? What was a moment that he thought he would never overcome, like never survive?
wow. What a very phenomenal question. I would say the peace dealer has definitely dealt with certain uh, mental battles concerning holding back parts of his personality and accepting facets of energy he deals with on a daily basis. And so, for a long time, the peace dealer has felt that perhaps his mind has had Tourette's. And I really mean this seriously in the sense where uh kind of like an elephant in the room where you're holding yourself back from thinking thoughts you don't want to think triggered by other people and feeling like those thoughts are your own when they're not really your thoughts like you think they're your thoughts. And so he's felt that this may have crippled social activity with him for a while because he interacts with people while still also having to deal with this facet, not really allowing him to really interact fully with people socially the way he may want to. And it's something that's not necessarily as bad, but something that he definitely looks to break through forever. It's something that has been easy to come into acceptance, but also, you know, I would say that if we're going to be really honest, waking up in the morning, waking up in the morning and starting his day early in the morning and actually working out and sticking to a routine without not giving a fuck after a few days. So between those two, it's just not necessarily thankfully anything too debilitating, but it is something that once broken through, it may make him very well unstoppable. You never
My
know.
darling, I think there is nothing more intimate than sharing how your brain works. So I'm so grateful for you to share that. And it makes sense that you I just want to say like that you do have these different ways. The peace dealer has these different ways of expressing himself that come across in different ways. It's like there is that repression is so painful, and so the fact that the peace dealer can do like daily trigger and like let out a joke that maybe he's like been like holding in, I love that about him. So I think he's working with that and making it a superpower, and it's yes. Thank you for sharing that.
Thank you. That was very well said indeed. Wow. Well, my next question for you is, what is your who is your ideal partner? Who has the ability to fancy Queen Talia? Clearly we know Leonardo DiCaprio.
Of course.
Right.
And right in there is Leo, right? I like Leos. My darling, a man who commands a room confidently, really owns himself, is so self-assured that like you're like top, like I have a lot of expressions like that wouldn't sway him, and is not like is so owning their power. They don't have to be loud about it, but so knows their power that they're like, go bitch, like go 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 go, because it would be an impossibility for me to threaten them. They have that king like energy where they know. They also just know how to work the system, because I think one thing that to me, Talia, like my bank account's like always suffering. Like I'm not good at like the practical world. I'd like a guy who's like got the practical, he can see the matrix, he like sees the systems and knows how to work it, so that then I can just like be the butterfly. And also very like sexually driven, in that Taurus moon vibe, like great food, great music, great style of life, great like understanding that life can be enjoyed by the micro moment or not at all. That's my man.
That's beautiful. It's very beautiful. Sounds a bit like Virgo energy there too with the last thing you said. Right.
Question for you, my
I'm
darling.
so glad you cannot read the live chat right now.
Oh, my darling, I'll read it later. Don't you worry.
All right.
My little ice cream, my rosé, I'll read through. Okay, Katie.
You're going to love it.
My turn for you now. Ooh, this is exciting. What do you think it's going to take externally? Like, do you think that there's something that could happen in your external world that could bring you into the full manifestation of, to bring the peace dealer into full manifestation of who he is?
That's a very fascinating question, because the peace dealer is definitely very obsessed with bringing this inner vision of himself out to the world. And what he's been battling with is accepting that there is an external stimulus, because he can't do everything on his own as much as he wants to. And, I believe that stimulus is a relationship, a goddess, actually, to sexually charge his Kundalini energy and to actually, remind him that the wisdom of the goddess is really the substance of what drives your masculinity forward, peace dealer. But yeah, I mean, I feel that I feel like there are some external stress that will serve as a catalyst to bring out this transformation. I really feel like there's no other greater transformation for him as a man than a woman who will draw out this power at all levels. But we honestly shall see. And I really enjoy how amazing of a question that was. Thank you.
My darling, that's a phenomenal answer.
Well, my final question for you, really quick. Oh, dearest Queen Talia, what is next for the code you are leading? What can we expect next from you?
Well, first of all, I just want to say that my dear friend Nicole Raz, when your final question was, "Will you be my girlfriend?" So I was like, if he asks me to be his wife, if he asks me to be his girlfriend, the answer is no, because Yari's my bestie. Like, you can't ask my friend to be
the peace dealer asked her, not Sir Oreo.
I won't talk goss. But it was like, if you, by way of peace dealer, asked me to be your wife, like I'd consider, right? I'd say no, but like I'd pause. I'd like do a dramatic pause. Okay, darling, what is next for the cult? Enormous. Thank you for asking that. You just like teed me up so well for all my plugs. So what's happened with the cult? What's happened with the cult, boo? We were supposed to have a rapture, right? November 3rd, 2020. It had been prophesized this for over a year that we were going to rapture home to my planet Brava, Providence, where everything is as I like it. Things changed. It became Providence on Earth. So bringing Providence on Earth, creating Providence here collectively as a group. Because astral travel is canceled. Also, it's like, get over yourself, bitch. So it was like, let's bring Providence here. So on November 3rd, when everyone was like distracted by the election, like we as a community, we're bringing in Rapture, and you can do it. It's a 10-minute meditation. I hope you've done it. It's a 10-minute meditation. The doors of Providence are open to you, and you
it's
open.
still available.
It's still available. It's streaming on the YouTubes, on the
Amen.
Instas. You open your eyes and you are in Providence on Earth. So we're at day 3 of Providence on Earth. We call it Earth because it's her Oprah. It's Oprah's Earth. But now we should actually be referring to Earth as Providence. So it's still getting used to this. We're day 3 of being on Providence. And the next workshop, I think you're going to love this. The next upcoming workshop as a community is called Unfuckwithable Presence. And it's about being unfuckwithable. And I heard, so I posted that. And then I was right before this, listened to your latest talk on the Taurus moon. And you said, if you didn't wake up, like, I'm unfuckwithable now, then you're not really feeling this vibration. And I was like, oh, that's exactly how I feel right now. I feel, Bill, can I share a secret with you on this live stream that like everybody's listening to?
Please go ahead.
He has not followed a scrap. I have not turned my focus of attention, and Sarah Armour of the Moon was saying, power is attention. I have not turned a second of my attention towards the political game. I don't know anything because I know we're not going to know. Tell me, wake me up when it's over. Tell me the answer. I'll be glad to know what the answer is, but I'm not going to like give my power over to their show. It's this show. So what's happening, what's up for the call is we are owning our power of perception. We are owning our ability to make the world we want. Meow, not waiting for any fucking thing to happen. Mm-hmm. And even there, my darling, I love that you are in this battle with yourself over the external and the internal. And it sounds like you've just honed that internal so much, and you're sort of waiting for those externals and recognizing that there is that tension. And I just want to remind you what we spoke about in the very beginning of bringing me in, that the micro is the macro. And so like even the little bit of touch, like even if it's like you get up 10 minutes earlier tomorrow because you're inspired by the idea of this goddess that you're bringing in, that is already stepping closer to this new you. Does that make sense?
No, this is very, very wonderfully said. It immature facets of his psyche arise when he wants to control it, in the sense of convincing himself to be single and not be in love or catch feelings. So at least, yeah. And then, oscillating between not catching feelings and then drowning in feelings. It will coming into balance. There's a bunch of embarrassing things, but it's also hilarious.
Oh, this is part of it for the men, is like the fear of feeling is so big for you guys. And I feel that. And it's hard because it's like the rejections that so many women face are not because they're not wonderful. It's oftentimes because they are wonderful.
Oh, that's deep. That's deep. Well, I will be right back. I'm very happy I got to play this with you. This is very fun. And I'm going to bring the peace dealer back so we can close this off.
What did it like to meet you? Oh, what a gentleman. Everyone enjoying the car alarm? Welcome to Silver Lake. It's either a gunshot or fireworks, but right now it's a car alarm.
Where?
Silver Lake, Los Angeles. I'm very big on the next. Should I bring back Lucia to close? Let's do that, right?
Let's do that.
Okay, cool. Hello.
Hello, Lucia.
That was fun.
That was very fun.
Oh my god, I enjoyed that.
Yeah, that was awesome.
It's always so good to talk to you. Like I say that with all sincerity. You're just it's just easy. There's almost like, and I think this is probably why you're so good at what you do, but it's almost like a meditative experience talking to you because you're very like present.
Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome.
That puts a lot of context. into everything. And other than that, is there any final words of wisdom? Actually, before that, I do have your Instagram in the comments section below, or the description. I have your website and I have your Patreon. So, or Talia's Patreon. So how can people reach you? How can people reach her if they would
So
like to?
my personal Instagram is Lucia Brizzi, and that's kind of fun because you get like all aspects of what I'm doing and more of a sometimes a bit more human communication. Talia Nada Brava, that's Talia Nada like nothing Brava, is my Instagram for Talia, and taliabrava.com is her website. I do like real these virtual retreats right now. Everything's virtual, of course, but they're like basically 3-hour workshops where you can like turn your phone off. Like it's really not about being in the Zoom. It's like here's a little assignment, go off, experience, come back, and they're like really mixing my work as a coach and like with the Talia Brava work, and it's very fantastical, but also very grounded. So I love doing those retreats. So yeah, just go to my website. You can learn all about it. If you go to my Patreon at the B Brava level, you get access to like every workshop, which is like pretty phenomenal deal. So those are the plugs.
Beautiful. And do you have any final words of wisdom for anyone walking this path?
Well, yeah, I think the a huge theme that's come through is just that like especially right now, just like permission to like own your fucking life, and like no one else's storyline is more important or less important. So it's like there's no we are under no obligation to feel any certain way about anything, and don't let anyone make you feel like it's not a good time for this or that. It's own your fucking storyline and live it and choose what it is.
Amen. Shout out to Nicole who said your workshops are fun AF.
Yay.
So
Your girlfriend.
definitely,
Wait, is Nicole your girlfriend?
I honestly did not tie the knot yet.
Okay, okay, okay.
I feel like if I'm going to be with someone as wonderful as Nicole, I should show up in person.
Oh, I love that.
So I don't want to just ask her out online, you know.
I love that. That's good. Good work.
I slowed my Mars and Aries down. The Cap was like, "Oh, let's take our time with this." You feel me? So,
Well,
you
my
know.
friend Sarah, Sarah's the Moonual. She I don't know why, but she's always right. She was like, I feel like you're with your person, the first time you fuck is gonna be on the internet. And
Oh my god.
like a metaphor. Like, I'm not like seeing myself releasing a video, but like what an interesting thing to say. So I always feel like it probably happened for me in a weird way. Like, you know, it probably will be a Zoom proposal.
The first, oh, you well, that's kind of interesting because like I'm very in like if you think about it, the whole notion of having sex on the internet might be something that won't be censored as much. Because it's already happening. But like, you know, it's kind of interesting.
Yeah,
But
you know, Doja Cat, Freaky on Camera, our prophet Doja has songs. Cyber Sex is all about that. Yeah.
okay, oh, I thought I was about to Doja Cat has a sex tape on the limit? Okay, okay.
I
There's
saw
a music in
it.
it. You got my hopes up. Okay, thank you though. That's totally fine. Thank you guys for joining. This is super awesome. Y'all stay blessed as always, Lucia. This was definitely one for the books. And y'all stay blessed as always.
Thank you, everybody.